Yo everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic kick butt day today so far. So guys, as you all know, we just got a fresh set of balance changes that rolled around not too long ago, which gives me super high hopes that the update is super close. Normally when there's like update hype going on in the community and they release something really small right beforehand, it's like a little snack, like a taste before the big thing. So really be on the lookout for something like sneak peeks or an update coming around the corner. So yeah guys, hopefully you're all pumped up for those sneak peeks and update information. Be sure to subscribe down below because I'm going to get that information out to you guys as soon as possible. Cannot wait to get my hands on Leon. That's one of the things that I really want coming out of this update. But first, let's get into the balance change updates. Here we go. Alright guys, so before we get into the changes, I just want to touch base with you guys that have had access to the dev build already, so I've able to play test every single one of these brawlers and test their buffs and their nerfs. So I want to make sure to give you guys my 2 cents as to how I think they're going to be affected in the meta, especially Darryl. Darryl has 7 different changes to his character that I think is going to be amazing on him, and I cannot wait for you guys to get your hands on him. So we'll explain him a little bit further in depth later on the video, but first, before we get into that, let's touch base on the other brawlers getting their changes before we touch on Darryl. So the very first one is on my man Colt. He's getting a much needed buff and he's going to be getting an attack and super damage increase from 280 to 300. So next is Crow. He also needed a buff desperately and he got his super regeneration buffed. So basically, instead of charging up his super with 9 daggers, he's going to be charging it up with 8. Moving on to the next one, and that is my man Bull. He is getting a buff to his health from 5,000 health to 5,200. Pam is also getting a health buff from 4,200 to 4,400. So next is Jessie, and she is also getting a buff. Hopefully we see her being played as the gem carrier a little bit more often. So she's getting a buff to her reload speed, so it's from 2 seconds to 1.8 now. Alright, so next rolling into the nerfs. So the very first one is Tara. So she's getting a nerf to her super regeneration rate. So instead of 12 hits, it's going to take her 13 hits to chart it up totally. For the next 2, who could have guessed, the nerfs are going to Penny and Spike. So the very first one is Penny. So super cannonballs no longer hit randomly. Super good nerf. And also decrease main attack projectile speed by 6%. I was hoping for that one. And the final nerf is to my boy Spike, and the very first one is his spikes from his main attack. So the projectiles that fire off his main spike bomb are now going to be predictable, so they're not at random. So they're going to be firing off in one individual pattern every single time. And then the second nerf is his spikes from his main attack range are now going to be decreased from 5 tiles to 4.33 tiles. Alright guys, so before we get into the big changes to Darryl, I'd like to analyze the brawlers that we just got done going over. So the very first one is Colt. So I think Colt is going to be a little bit more balanced. I feel like a really good buff would have been to his range. The damage is really necessary as well. Something just to give him a little bit more of an oomph. So we see him in the 3v3s that he's really good in, such as Heist or Bounty. So hopefully we start seeing him in the meta a little bit more. He's definitely going to be a little bit more balanced if you buff either his damage or his range. Next, taking a look at the Crow buff. Guys, I really like this buff. I feel like if you want Crow to be a little bit better in the meta, you really need to target his super regeneration, which they did in this balance change. I feel like if you take a look back about 2 or 3-ish balance changes ago, when Crow was top 3 and top 3 for a very long time, it was because he got his super a whole lot. He used his super with the assassination kind of archetype in this game, where you jump in, make a pivotal play, jump away, just be kind of scrappy around the map, and that's what Crow is kind of lacking right now, which is why he's towards somewhat of the middle of the pack. So I'm hoping that Crow is going to be a little bit more balanced, almost towards the top of the tier list. I would love that for Crow in Brawl Stars moving forward. So the next two buffs are both from Bull and Pam, getting 200 HP added to their characters. I like these ones. I feel like Pam didn't need it as much as Bull just because I felt like she was pretty dang balanced in the meta before the health increase, though I don't know if 200 HP is going to do a whole lot to their characters. It's not going to make them broken or anything, but I feel like Pam is kind of borderline either in the middle of the pack or even a little bit better than the majority of brawlers, just because we're seeing her in game modes that she normally isn't that crazy good in, like Heist even. So I feel like she doesn't necessarily need any more buffs moving forward. So the final buff was to Jessie, and she got a buff to her reload speed, and I really like this one. I feel like there are one of two buffs that you can give to Jessie, and that is to her damage or her reload speed, just because both result in a higher damage per second outcome. And I feel like that's super important for Jessie, because one of her main problems is when she's getting kind of tracked down by a maybe a little bit higher health brawler like a Primo or a Frank, or even some of the higher health aggro-ish brawlers like a Nita or something like that. She has a hard time fending them off. It's either you have to land every single one of your shots, or you have to get lucky with like a turret placement. So I feel like a little bit more DPS to Jessie is going to do her really well, and hopefully we see her as a little bit more of a superior gem carrier in this game. So next, moving on to the nerfs, and the first one was Tara. Now, she got a nerf to her super regeneration, and I think I agree with this one, just because I feel like every single balance change that you look back, Tara just keeps finding a way to get to like the top 5 best brawlers in the game, just because her super is so incredibly broken in this game. It can make such clinching plays in this game that I feel like it can't be overlooked. And I feel like if you want to nerf Tara good, so she's more towards the middle of the pack, you gotta target her super, which they did here. So next, take a look at the two most important nerfs coming from this balance change, and that is to Penny and Spike, the two most overpowered brawlers in this last balance change. I really like the changes to Penny, just because they didn't even touch any of her actual character. I like her a lot. I like the width of her coin bag. I like how much damage she does. I just like her in general. The only thing that was making her incredibly broken was her mortar. It was super inconsistent. It would deal too much damage. It would hit you from way far away, which I feel like all the changes in this balance change are going to correct. I feel like Penny is going to be much more balanced moving forward, but still pretty good. And finally, ending on Spike, and once again, I really like this change to Spike as well. I feel like he is just been super good in the meta for far too long. I think it's not going to totally kill his brawler. If you take a look at Spike, he's always going to be good in this game, just because his mechanics are super good. His super is good, his attack is good, but it's just a little bit less RNG with his attack. So he had a reduction to his actual attack range, and there's no RNG on his actual Spike grenades that explode off. I feel like every single time I would throw one, or someone would throw one at me, I would get hit every single time. So this one is going to kind of put an end to that, just because it's going to be ricocheting off in the same direction every single time, so you can predict where those shots are going to be, and you can dodge them a little bit easier. So I really like the changes to Spike. I feel like he's not going to be super incredibly OP, but I still think he's going to be good. Alright guys, so now with the balance changes out of the way, let's jump into Darryl, and what I like to call it basically an entire rework to Darryl. So let's hop into it. So there are 7 different changes being added to Darryl that I think is going to make him very meta in Brawl Ball as the ball carrier, as well as one of my favorite brawlers to play, and I would have never have said that before these changes. Now I want you to go into this with an open mind. A lot of these are going to sound like nerfs, but on the other side, you guys are going to love the way he plays. So the very first one is his super range is being decreased from 23.3 tiles to 7. Pretty dang big nerf. For the second one, it involves his star power, and it's another nerf. His super activates his shield, and he takes reduced damage by 30% for 3.5 seconds. So I believe before that it was like 80%. Number 3 is his super will charge from 13 attacks to 7 attacks, so a buff to his super regeneration. 4 is his main attack damage is going to be decreased from 360 to 260, so a pretty big nerf. Number 5 is his super attack damage is going to be decreased from 640 to 400, so another nerf. Number 6 is his health is going to be decreased from 5,000 to 4,000, so a lot of nerfs across the board. Now where it starts to get interesting is point number 7, and that is his super is going to charge automatically over a 20-second period. So basically you can just camp in a bush with Darryl for 20 seconds and your super will charge up all the way to full. You don't necessarily have to do damage to charge up your super. You can do damage to charge up your super to charge it up that much faster, but you don't necessarily have to. Now this opens up a lot of different possibilities in the game. For example, in Brawl Ball, he's a really great ball scorer. He's now very good at gap clearing, even better than Bull, where what I mean is you are lining up your super to land at a specific point where someone is going to be standing, so you're physically right on top of them. So Darryl can do that multiple times a game, get right on top of maybe a squishy brawler, take them out. The gameplay is just a lot of fun. I feel like he's going to be a really solid brawler moving forward, and I think he's going to be an excellent ball scorer, probably one of the best ball scorers in all of Brawl Stars moving forward. So yeah guys, those are all the changes being brought to the game. Let me know what you think about the balance changes, the Darryl rework. I'm excited about all of it. I like a change brought to the meta. I feel feel like when you are lacking a balance change for about like 5 months, things become like a little stale. So any type of change is really fun in my eyes, especially that Darryl one. I'm really excited for you guys to try that out. It was incredibly fun for me. Also, I want you guys to let me know as well what you're most excited for this update. Is it Leon? Is it these balance changes? Is it the Darryl rework? Is it anything else? What are you most pumped up for this update? I know what I'm most pumped up for. That's that sucker Leon. Guys, I cannot wait to get it. As you guys know, I have so many brawl boxes on my main account, and as soon as that brawler is released, I'm going to be hunting for him like crazy. So hope you guys are pumped up for that as well. Hope you're just pumped up for the update in general. So yeah, guys, I think I'm going to leave you there, and I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Make sure to keep having fun with Brawl Stars, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.